Narcissistically abusive relationships can also evoke earlier traumas, lack of safety, or relation strife from childhood. At those times, we may see a bit of a mild dissociation that kind of someone almost thinking you have to put their hand in front of your face and say, hey, where are you? We do kind of check out a little bit, especially if you're reminding everybody when you're pivot. If that happens enough, there can sort of be a fogginess there as well. The main reminder the survivors run into on the news, on a TV show, having regular contact who knows a narcissistic person who's affecting them. Strange reminders that pop up on those stupid reminder feeds on social media. There are chronic reminders. And if you're in it, they aren't just reminders, they're what's happening in your life. Other things that trauma does to folks, so the vigilance, the constant state of being on edge, the need to always monitor, that can also contribute to this fogginess. Brain fog in any form is never good. It leaves us feeling foggy. We don't feel as disorganized, we're not thinking straight, we don't feel like we're on our A game. And it can be doubly angering because we're already suffering so much in these relationships. And then having to endure fogginess on top of it can feel like a double injury. May also find themselves further criticizing themselves. This is not a normal way to be. You feel like you're your full self. But in response to these relationships, we can expect it. The stress of these relationships can be unrelenting, so please don't be
word of Moscow, Russia. Here's a scene setter report that he filmed right when he landed. I'm Jeremy Lefebvre for Rebel News, and I just touched down in Moscow, Russia. I'm going to be here all week to try to bring you the truth on the most important geopolitical issue of our time. I'm going to speak to Russians, Ukrainians, soldiers, professors, and I'm going to try to get you guys the truth. Now, between visas, translators, and transportation, this trip was not cheap. And these finances have acted as a financial censorship mechanism that have stopped independent media from coming here and reporting the truth. You can support my work in Moscow and Rebel News at RussianReports.com. That's RussianReports.com. For Rebel News, I'm Jeremy Lefebvre. Well, today we released the first subsidiary report. I had some questions for him, and he had the same questions. What's it like being an ordinary Russian? Have the sanctions made life miserable? Can they still get affordable food? Are they all poor? I didn't know any of these things. What's your parents? So one of the first things Jeremy Lefebvre reported did, he went to buy some food at a grocery store, fill up with gas. Take a look at this video. We just released it today. I'm Jeremy Lefebvre for Rebel News in Moscow, Russia. We've been told that the Western sanctions against Russia are bringing the economy to its knees. So one marker of that is the price of food. Essential goods like cheese, milk, bread, and meat are all markers of how well the economy's doing. Well, I'm going to go to a grocery store in Moscow and see if the shelves are bare and see if things are expensive or not.
Sanctions leveled against Russia by the U.S. and its allies are the harshest ever handed down.
Russians are dealing with some hefty,
and their effects are being widely felt in Russia.
After touching down in Moscow, the first thing I decided to do was get some food. But I wondered if that would be easy. The New York Times reported that the Western sanctions against Russia are leading to essential goods scarcity. And the Washington Post went as far as saying that Russia is facing, quote, Soviet-era shortages. So I went to a grocery store here in Russia to get the whole story and some food, and to experience firsthand the reported scarcity and Soviet-style shortages. The grocery store I went to in Moscow was located inside of a shopping center. And to my surprise, the shopping center was filled with both regular consumer and luxury stores, all stocked. But this doesn't mean that the grocery store has food. These are separate types of goods from different places, and different sanctions affect different things. Upon walking in, I was surprised. It seemed like not only a normal grocery store, but it was absolutely full of food. Gorilla pasta, which you can get at any grocery store in the States, was stacked so tall that I would need a ladder to reach the
89
But
cents.
I remained skeptical because surely the New York Times and the Washington Post wouldn't be lying. And of course, the seemingly full store could be a facade. There could only be one item
Holy shit.
and nothing behind it. The classic roof. Another question was, how expensive is everything? Russian stores can have food, but with inflation and shortages, items can be so expensive that no one can afford them. First, I went to the milk aisle. Kefir, 1%, 2%, 3%, and even 4% milk. Yogurts and fake dairy alternatives. They had a lot of options. I got a liter of regular milk. It was 89 rubles, or $1.41. Then I went for some bread. Nothing fancy, just a loaf of whole wheat. It was 60 rubles, or 95 cents. They also had an entire bakery making fresh baked goods. Then I made my way to the meat section. They had beef, chicken, turkey, pork, and even rabbit. I settled for a pound of ground beef, which was 175 rubles, or $2.78. I then decided to get some eggs. Strangely enough, eggs were not kept refrigerated, but they did have dozens of choices. I got 10 eggs for 99 rubles, or $1.47. Then I decided to get some vegetables for my meat. A container of mushrooms for 79 rubles, or $1.25. And then I went to pay for everything, in rubles, of course. The total eggs, beef, bread, and mushrooms was 499 rubles, or $7.92. Surprisingly, it seems the mainstream media is not being entirely truthful in regards to the effects sanctions are having on the prices of essential goods in Russia. Despite my experience, a few people I spoke to explained that the sanctions have had an effect on them in one way or another. This lady, from a rural market outside of Moscow, was selling produce. She explained that while most prices have stayed the same, the prices of some foods have actually skyrocketed.
Не знаю, так вроде бы ничего не поменялось. Больше стали цены, намного даже.
And this man, who sells cranberries at the market, spoke to me about the prices of berries.
Нет, на нашем товаре, нашей, как сказать, целевой аудитории, наша целевая аудитория это бабушки, покупают клюкву, в принципе, ничего не поменялось. Я не заметил разницу. Все как было, так и осталось на ровном месте.
This woman told me that the idea that Russian people are suffering from sanctions is simply not true. But the uncertainty of everything has made people more serious about financial planning and financial literacy.
Ну, так прям страдаем, голодаем, такого нет. Но просто мы ощущаем эту песню, когда начали по-другому чуть-чуть рассчитывать финансы, поняли, что финансовая грамотность, что нужно как-то смотреть, но планировать сложно. Все сейчас.
Another essential good pretty much all people use is gas, but these policies actually fell hardest on the American people since they're the ones paying more at the pump. So I went to a gas station in Russia. Gas was about 47 rubles per liter. Converted to US metrics, that's about $2.75 per gallon. I spoke to a man from Moscow who drives for a living.
В течение года, думаю, разница невелика. Она от 45 рублей до 48 или максимум. То есть пробойная до 1 рубля разница. То есть бывает. И меняется, не скажем, что часто, но раз 3-4 дня так, копейками, но бывает, что поднимается, то понижается.
In Moscow, Russia, I'm Jared Wilford.
And what do you think of that video? Would you say that's a pro-Putin video? I don't think it's pro-Putin or anti-Putin. I think it's just a video asking the question, what's it like in Russia? Are the sanctions having a bite? Are ordinary people feeling the pain? I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good test. What's a grocery store like? It looked pretty full to me. And by the way, the prices paid for milk and eggs and other things in Russia, many of them are cheaper than here in Canada. For that, you can blame many things, including that we have marketing boards. So you have expensive eggs and dairy and chicken in Canada no matter what. I think they're actually, I mean, that would look like an amazing grocery store. One of the amazing things about it was cheaper there than it is over here. And the ruble, the Russian currency is actually stronger
Yeah.
than the ruble. So is it propaganda or is that just actual, just the facts reported? I think it's just the reporting. Aren't you glad you know that? So that confused you a little bit based on what we were told with the sanctions pushing Vladimir Putin to the tipping point. I don't don't know, I find it confusing. But this is a dangerous mission. People could say, well, you are just agents for NATO, or you are just agents for Putin, or you're just a propagandist from one side or the other. That's why before we sent Jeremy Lafredo over to Russia, we had a heart-to-heart with him in our boardroom here at our world headquarters and hired a number of people around the world during the lockdown. So we just weren't allowed to travel and weren't allowed to travel here. So Jeremy and I talked in, I'm going to play for you about a half an hour of that video because I want you to see my thinking and his thinking about how to do this trip to Russia right. All right, sit down. I'll come back after the video. Take a look. Jeremy, when you told me you wanted to go to Russia, I thought, that's dangerous. That's a risky idea. But I thought about it and I thought maybe that's a great idea. If our motto of revolution is telling the other side of the story, I don't think we've heard the real story from Russia. I don't think we've certainly heard from the Russian people. Do they support the war? Do they support Putin? How are they doing economically? Have they heard the Ukrainian case? What's their answer to it? I'm worried about the risks of going to Russia, but I think it could actually be amazing journalism.
Yeah, I think that with the most prominent geopolitical strategists in the world, all explaining that this could end up in nuclear catastrophe. But there's no independent media on the ground. I think it's a giant problem and something that revolution can fix.
It's hard to find out what's really going on. I'm very interested in the truth about this war. I believe that there's disinformation on both sides. That's always been a weapon of war. On both sides, though. And so I think that to find out what's going on the ground in Ukraine is probably too dangerous for us to do. We're not a war correspondent. I don't think we have the resources or the know-how to get you onto the battlefield. I don't think that's what we would do. But to send you to Moscow, which is an information battle, I think we can do that if we're careful about how we conduct ourselves, if we're careful that we don't get you arrested, and if we're careful not to fall into the trap of reporting on a war in an authoritarian regime. I think even Russia's supporters will acknowledge that it's authoritarian. They have extra legal arrests and imprisonments. We have to be careful that we don't get you arrested, but we also have to be independent enough that we're not just echoing Russian propaganda. It's a very delicate project, but I think we can do that.
I think it's delicate, but I think at the same time, if people see that what we're doing is we're putting microphones to the Russian people, and we're not, editorializing. It's important to know what they believe, whether they support the war, whether they're against the war, what they think of the U.S., what they think of NATO, whether they are scared that they're going to get drafted, whatever they might think. It's important to know what that is and show Western audience, because the Russian side, whether it's coming from Russian media or whether it's coming from prominent U.S. journalists, it's been demonized and censored and banned on social media. So we're in a dangerous situation in terms of the political landscape and media landscape.
It's hard to go over there, and I think it's, again, that's a weapon of war. It's making it hard to interact with the enemy. There are no direct flights that I know of between Canada and the United States or Russia. I think there were in the past. But as far as I can tell, there are none. You have to go through the third country. It's hard to pay for things over there. We wanted to hire a Russian, get him briefed now, get him ready now, in case, God forbid, you're arrested, you have someone on the ground already. Even paying that lawyer, you can't send money from a Canadian or American bank to a Russian. So there's a lot of ways it's difficult to get there. And even in the West here, deleted Russia Today's channel. And I'm not saying that I would follow Russia uncritically. I knew it was government messaging, but I would like to know what the government messaging is, so I know I know what they're thinking about. I know what I might need to rebut or research. I think it is hard to know what's going on, and being on the ground may be the one way you can find out certain facts with your own eyes. Like, I'm curious, what's the mood in Russia? Are young men worried about being conscripted? Is the economy, are people afraid to criticize Putin, or do they do so and they don't care? I think those things you can only know by being there. Yeah, I mean, the mainstream media, they do lie all the time. Could they be telling the truth right now? Yes, it's possible. So let's go there and let's see, what the feeling's like in one of the biggest Russian cities. One of the tools we do a lot of news, I know you do it as well, is what we call streeters, or man on the street. As well, is what we call streeters, or man on the street. And it's not a sophisticated form of journalism. It's just, let's just talk to people, or these people we find on the street who are willing to talk to us. And, there's sometimes a goofy question you can ask, or just a quick reaction. The trouble with doing streeters in an authoritarian regime is that people might be afraid to speak on camera because they might fear retaliation of some sort. So I think if you were to send a cameraman to Russia 40 years ago when it was under the Soviet Union, the only people willing to talk to you on camera would probably be Communist Party members who would praise the dictator. So I don't know if that's a function today. If people are so afraid of Vladimir Putin that they would not criticize him on camera.
No, they do.
Maybe
RT did all the time.
people would have to be interviewed with the camera not pointing at their faces, pointing at their shoes, maybe. Or maybe we would have to obscure them. But we have to think, how do we do journalism in Moscow that is so legitimate and objective and just basic, nothing too tricky or fancy, just who, what, where, why, when, basic journalism, that it can withstand scrutiny of anyone, whether they're a pro-Russian shill or a pro-Ukraine shill or someone in NATO or something. I want our journalism to be so and so ethical that no matter what side people are on in this war, they'll say, that was real journalism, and I learned something, and I can trust that it was disinformation. That's going to be tough to do. I think that when we see disinformation right now, it's been through 3 different organizations. Many people have touched it, many different conflicts of interest, and one of the pluses of being on the street is people can say whatever they want. Russian people will speak. So, whether you think that they're lying or you disagree with them, it's a fact that this person said this thing. Speak, and I'm not going to editorialize. There's something to be said for citizen journalism, and every person in the world can be a journalist. They give us a smartphone with a camera. Surprise, you're a journalist. I mean, that really is probably more. If you turn your cell phone on the streets of Moscow and ask people how to feel about the war, that is more journalistic integrity and more honest and interesting journalism than half of the homogenized, pasteurized, processed journalism going through big companies that I don't think are allowed to deviate from the official line. And I think everyone is against war. And I think everyone wants this resolved peacefully. No one more than the Ukrainian people whose country has become this battleground. I think this giant proxy war between the East and the West. We don't have the ability to go to Ukraine, so can we go into the heart of the antagonist and see, is Putin supported? What do his people say? We just don't know that because I can't think of a single mainstream media journalist in Canada, the United States, and the United Kingdom who has actually talked to Russians on the ground. A lot of people in Ukraine, but they feel very stage managed. Do you know how many journalists have gone to Russia and asked real questions in an unscripted way? No, I don't. And you said Russia Today was taken off the internet, and it's obviously we know that Russia Today is propaganda, but it's a different scenario and a different political climate when we have professional U.S. journalists who are simply questioning the government narrative regarding the war, and they're being criticized and being asked to be invaded by U.S. politicians, U.S. intelligence agencies. So, yes, obviously we don't want Russia Today, but that regular independent journalists are being demonized for just some of that can be fixed by simply going there and explaining exactly that's one of the tools for stifling any criticism of American policy, criticism of Canadian policy, is to call a critic a disinformation spreader. his test for being a Russian agent, I'm not even kidding, was if you sowed distrust in Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. And he literally said the name Justin Trudeau. This is when any opposition, any public interest skepticism of our government would automatically be put in a category of foreign disinformation. They actually accused Rebel News of that, which is insane. There's no way you can stop malicious, bad faith critics from saying that. But it is my desire that you go to Russia and your journalism is so even-handed, so objective, and so just follow the facts where they are. Let people say what they do. Let people say what they want to say. If they want you to shit gold, and you go to Russia and come back with journalism that any minded person can, that was really in Russia. You're going to please these professional disinformation accusers. They get paid to make accusations, and they will certainly do this if they want to get questions. I don't know if there is a beauty of it. Yeah. For example, I hear that 100,000 Russians, there's 100,000 casualties in Ukraine. That's a staggering number if it's true in America, which is a huge number. To double that number and to show this blood, I would have to think that would touch almost young men worried about being conscripted. I think that, I don't know if I ever know the actual casualty count, but I think one way of measuring this war is our mums. Yeah, anecdotal evidence. Let's go there and collect some. There's other things. I mean, the economy. We were told. One thing I think you're going to see by being there is what's business like. Is it prosperous? The ruble has not been shattered because of the sales of oil and gas. How are people getting on? Are they using Chinese things? Are the Chinese businesses taking over the American ones? A lot of American retail. I think McDonald's is left in Russia. They tried to liberalize trade. If it's being pulled on now because of sanctions, who's going to those McDonald's restaurants? Is the Russian chain? The Chinese company? As the West freezes out Russia, has Iran moved it? I think those are small little colorful vignettes that being on the street could show. That's not anything with the defense minister or the foreign minister, but that's a little observation that may give us a window into larger issues. I mean, we're told that, Western capital is completely pulled out of Russia and they're really building, we're told, the death count is X. And, it is the mainstream media. We don't know what to do. So that's why it's so important to go there and walk around and really see, is there a McDonald's there? Is there, we know that my plane has to go around Ukraine. It takes an extra 3 hours to get to Russia. So we already know that there's policies in place that stop Russian companies from behaving like they normally do. So what is that? Has that taken a toll on the Russian people? We'll find out. I think we know the Ukrainian argument. The Ukrainian argument is this was uncalled for, violent aggression by a foreign country violating the territorial integrity of Ukraine against the Budapest Memorandum, against treaties, against international norms. What's one Ukrainian argument? That this is Russian imperialism, this is Vladimir Putin, the ex-KGB agent who wants to seek a greater a grandiose scheme. Those are some of the Ukrainian arguments, and I don't think on the Ukrainian side and on the NATO side. That all Ukraine wants is to be free and independent and to defend itself. Those are some Ukrainian arguments. I think there's more. I want to see if Russians have heard these arguments. I want to see how they would react to these arguments. Are they persuaded by them? Have they ever heard them before? In Russia, do they get news from the other side? And do they have any sympathy for the Ukrainian side? Do they think that the war was excessive? So I want to, if possible, I want to put to Russian people the Ukrainian case to see the reaction. I think that would be very interesting. Maybe they've never even heard the Ukrainian case. I know that many Russians, I'm told, that many Russians see, most Ukrainians who speak Russian as Russian. So what does that border mean to Russians? I want to know.
And have they heard these arguments that we hear often in the West? And what are their feelings about them? There's a lot of complicated things. I don't purport to be an expert in Ukraine. I know there's parts of Ukraine that are ethnically Russian and that feel an affiliation to Russia. Again, you and I are sitting here in North America, and we're discussing something where neither of us is in. And it's hard for us to know. We can study the world through the media and through the internet to find out. And one of the things, and this is one of the very first things I said to you, is it's physically dangerous. Our reporters have been arrested probably a dozen times. But we've been arrested in places where there was the rule of law, and we just had to get a lawyer, and our reporter would be out with it, and our reporter would be out with it. Now, I'm never truly afraid for our journalists. We sent journalists partly free countries like Iraq and Morocco before, but we had some sort of safety for them. That's not the case here. There's a prominent American WNBA player who's in prison, hard labor in Russia right now. And all the diplomatic, political efforts to free her have no avail. Legally, she hasn't been rescued. Russia is a different ballgame. If the Russian government thinks that you are, if they think you're undermining that country, if they think you're engaging in some sort of sedition,
they will arrest you and they
you
will
are
keep you.
beyond the help of us. I mean, if Joe Biden can't free an American prisoner, there's no way that little rebel news can free you.
That's not true.
And I don't think the Canadian government would be much help, frankly. So I've tried to emphasize to you the personal.
Not listening to Michael.
I know you don't have a white cage. That makes me feel slightly better. And I know you're not going to prevail. But you never know what some local cop takes as a provocation.
Yeah.
Especially in the state of the war. They might say, who is the man who is here doing journalism to stir up trouble against Bolivia and against the army? If that happens, we are pretty much powerless to rescue. I'm just going to be as, neutral as possible. And who knows if the NRCC, where other people are there.
Frozen spaghetti.
It'd be interesting to see if you see the Ukraine. But I know you're not Russians.
Thank you.
Russians feel comfortable speaking to me. Then
I was in Russia.
I should feel comfortable listening to them. If they feel comfortable speaking to me, then maybe I shouldn't be around.
I forgot that spaghetti existed.
But based on the people that
Spicy.
in Russia that I've been contacted before I went there.
So spicy.
Not
Not super spicy. Just a little bit spicy.
If,
Chili
if
spicy.
you go there and come back safely, all of us will have a good chuckle about it. But there is a chance, I don't know if it's 1% or 10% or 20%, that you will have. And I just want our viewers to know a criminal lawyer in Moscow and explain to him actually. And he was on standby to help in case God forbid we're in trouble. We're following Russian rules in terms of getting a visa, applying at the consulate, and you've received that. In fact, just yesterday, you were at the Russian consulate.
Yep.
And
You
are
see.
approved for this trip. Yeah,
I'm falling asleep with this on blanket. Can you please wake me up? Tell me, hey, get your igloo? Say something.
Okay.
Okay. No, I'm overheating. I'm an idiot.
Hiring a local lawyer in case we need one in the middle of the night. We don't have to start our search from scratch. We've got a Russian lawyer in the city who has met you over Zoom.
Oh, they're gonna be fucking
I
mad.
just want our viewers to know that because we're not being cavalier. I think it's a.
This is Rebel News. Or even ever since he was running, they are banned from any kind of media coverage. Any kind of press report that everyone is like, the standard is everyone's present, everyone's allowed to be present. Whoever has a question can ask their question, whether it gets answered or not. They are full on banned. Anybody who's part of their fucking media. And it's only because they will like ask questions because you know how they have like a list of questions, approved questions.
Yeah.
They will ask questions that are not on the approved questions list, so they get kicked out. And they're like, well, then what's the point? We can only ask the questions you want us to ask, then what's the point? What are we doing here? Just hire your own people, which is what they do. So they sent one of their reporters to Russia, to Moscow, and they're like, hey, it looks pretty normal. They're saying 50,000 people casualties in Ukraine so far. Those 500,000 casualties. That's like 5 times the amount of people that died in Vietnam in like not even a fraction of the time. So that's pretty unbelievable. And they're like, yeah, no, that's how bad it is. That's how bad it is. It's how fucking terrible Putin is that he's just.
And then on the ground, you don't speak Russian. I don't speak Russian. So we have 2 people who will accompany you. One of them has worked as a journalist there for a foreign broadcasting before. She's completely fluent in Russian. Will help, interpreting if you encounter people who don't speak good English. She'll be.
I don't know why we haven't watched this yet.
You do that all the time.
Well,
okay, I know what's going on, and I'm listening, and I know what's going on, and then boom, change it. Now I'm in the void. I don't know where I am. What's going on? Who's Putin anyway?
Who's Putin?
Yeah.
Why are passwords so important? Why is it important that we have better ones than the ones that we do have? Because the ones that we do have are embarrassingly bad.
It's Snowden.
Yeah.
One of the easiest ways to contact the system. A very common 8-character password.
VOG 3 dot.
For an 8-character password. Right. My password is 5 characters. That's not a joke. That's bad, right? That's really bad. Okay, so which of these seem like good options? Password, but spelt W-E-R-D.
This is a joke, right?
No. Yes.
That would be within normal password dictionaries. Permutations of common words.
It is misspelled though, so there's this kind of tripwire on it.
Right, it's still 8 characters, even if it's not within the password dictionary, which would mean
Okay, go ahead. You're right. That's why I 1, 2, 3, 4, but spelled out. Limp Biscuit spelled properly, but forever not.
that's also not going to help you.
Okay. Really?
I think
Okay. What's that?
the best advice
Carly?
What's the one sticky?
think about a common phrase that works for you. The 2
Sorry,
That's
sorry.
coleslaw.
of brute force, and also make them unlikely to be in the dictionary.
Admiral Alonso Ghosting is 40 yoga.
Let's go.
That's pretty good.
Right?
Memorable.
Right, terrible. It's got all the other things you like characters and numbers. No letters, actually, I'll use it.
Which might actually be a lot harder to remember fast.
Okay.
Exclamation things. It has a number.
Put it back on there.
Uppercase and lowercase. Remember a simple phrase like Margaret Thatcher is 110% sexy.
Wow. That is a password that not even a computer would guess. Now, you're right. Okay, I get it. I get how important it is. I fully understand that. The problem is, I'm not going to do it because it seems hard, even though I know it isn't.
That's it.
No. They don't even have it anymore.
Our main story tonight is government surveillance, and I realise most people would rather have a conversation about literally any other topic, including is my smartphone giving me cancer, which the answer is probably, or do goldfish suffer from depression, to which the answer is yes, but very briefly. But the fact is, it is vital that we have a discussion about this now, because an important date is just around the corner.
One big date to circle on the calendar when it comes to a very controversial subject, the reauthorization of the Patriot Act and all of the controversial provisions therein. June 1st, they got to come to an agreement to reauthorize or curtail this program.
Yeah, some controversial provisions within the Patriot Act are set to expire on June the 1st. So circle that date on your calendars, everyone. And while you're at it, circle June 2nd as well, because that's Justin Lowell's birthday. You all forgot last year and you fucking noticed. Now, over the last couple of years, you've probably heard a lot about strange-sounding programs such as XP Score, Muscular, Prism, and Mixed, which are coincidentally also the names of some of Florida's least respected clubs. Welcome to XP Score, our sponsors are fully unredacted, and Tuesday is wing night. But if you don't mind, I would like to refresh your memory over some of this. And let's start in the name of an Eastern European broadband. We are Section 215, prepared to have your hearts throb. No stranger of potato farmer and the one without an iron deficiency. Incredible. But the contents of the real Section 215 is actually even more sinister.
So Section 215, nicknamed the Library Records Provision, which allows the government to include books, records, papers, documents, and other items.
Quebec could do that now. Language police. If you're, they can go into your company's system and see if it's in French and if it's all translated in French. Even if your whole staff is English, even if like you've been doing it on like an English program, your whole fucker business, it has to be French, and they can go into your system without notice.
Section 215 is overseen by a secret intelligence court known as the FISA court, and they've interpreted it to mean the government can basically collect and store phone records for every American. The vast majority of them, of course, have no connection to terrorism.
Bill C-11. That's Canada's version. C-10, which got turned down.
Now, the government will point out that under 215 they hold phone records and not the calls themselves.
The intelligence community is doing is looking at phone numbers and durations of calls. They're not looking at people's names, and they're not looking at contact.
The way they put it was if a police officer had a gun against your head and said, I'm a police officer. Basically is what it is.
Bray's got a gun in my head. But he's got a gun into my head.
Yeah, but he's a cop.
Yeah, but he's got a gun into my head. When this time you say, trust me, I got a gun. Oops.
Signing the law for your extension of the terrorism fighting Patriot Act.
Oh.
By the way, Wait, you threw that in like a mother telling her grown daughter that her childhood pet just died. Nice talking to you, sweetie. Also, by the way, Mr. Peppers is dead. See you at Christmas. Bang. But all of that was before the public was made aware of 2013.
Edward Snowden has just taken responsibility for one of the biggest government leaks in U.S. history.
They learned that the government has the capacity to track virtually every American phone call and to scoop up impossibly vast quantities of data across the internet.
Revelations that the NSA stored them for up to a month. If all that information is exposed by Edward Snowden.
Yeah, but now, like, fucking Canada, they can use it against you in a court of law.
Secret documents from an organization that literally has the word security in its name.
It's cool.
Clearly that was not
Great.
because the only place where it should be that easy to compose their business is
No grapes here.
mid-store. Dude, you sure I should take this? Relax, dude. It's a Miami Marlins cap. We're not exactly selling Fabergé eggs here. It is still unclear exactly how many documents Edward Snowden stole, although he has consistently tried to reassure people that he put them in good hands.
Honestly, I don't want to be the person making decisions on what should be public and what shouldn't, which is one, or putting it out openly. I'm running through journalists.
And that sounds great, but of course it's not a fail-safe plan, as was proven when the New York Times published this slide. But did such a sloppy job of blocking out redacted information that some people were able to read the information behind that black bar, which concerned how the US was monitoring Al-Qaeda in Mosul, a group now known as ISIS. So essentially, a national security secret was leaked because one of the Times knows how to use Microsoft Paint. And look, you can think that Snowden did the wrong thing or did it in the wrong way. But the fact is, we have this information now, and we no longer get the luxury of pleading ignorance. It's like you can't go to see and pretend that Shamu's happy anymore, when we now know at least half the water in her tank is whale tears. We know that now. Don't know that information. I've forgotten to have a debate over the contents of what Snowden leaked. A recent Pew report found that nearly half of Americans say they're not very concerned or not at all concerned about government surveillance, which is fine if that's an informed opinion, but I'm not sure that it is, because we actually sent a camera crew to Times Square to ask some random passers-by who Edward Snowden was and what he did. And these are the responses that we got.
I have no idea who Edward Snowden is.
I have no idea who Edward Snowden is.
I've heard the name. I just can't think right now exactly what it is.
Edward Snowden. No, I do not.
Just for the record, that wasn't cherry picking. That was entirely reflective of everyone we spoke to. Although, to be fair, some people did remember his name. They just couldn't remember why.
He told some information to people. He revealed some information that.
I'm the WikiLeaks guy.
They suck. People suck. It's the proof that people suck.
Right?
Like, why are we doing all this anyway?
He's in charge of WikiLeaks.
Edward Snowden revealed a lot.
In charge of WikiLeaks.
Okay, so here's the thing. Edward Snowden is not the WikiLeaks guy.
Julian Assange. And he's still in prison.
No, he's not.
Julian Assange?
Okay, I thought you told about this.
No, Julian Assange is in prison because he was extradited. And he's basically in extradition limbo because they don't know what to do with him. Because the states wanted him. But I think it was mostly Trump that wanted him. And then Trump was gone, so now nobody wanted him.
Maybe I'm gonna explode into WikiLeaks.
Hot. He started again.
That was the first part of the WikiLeaks.
It's like how you can't have a badass pet falcon and an adorable pet ball named Purpose. Either you have to lose one of them, which obviously you don't want to do, or you have to accept some reasonable restrictions on both of them. Now, to be fair, the NSA will argue that just because they can do something doesn't mean they do it, and that there are restrictions on their operations, such as the FISA courts, which must approve court has approved of its
No, just do that.
unlawfully accepted.
No.
Go, fuck off.
Holy fuck.
At least tell him to blink and burp less. The clapping might be the most troubling thing about that job. So maybe it's time for us to talk about where the limits should be. And the best place to start would be Section 250. Not just because it's the easiest to understand, but because there is widespread agreement it needs to be reformed. From the President to Ted Cruz to both the ACO loop
I suck for real.
Joints at you.
All in my face.
Why would that suck?
It was pointy. All pointy on me.
No.
Exactly. So mean. So mean. You're so mean. You're so mean. Can you go smoke weed?
Mm-hmm.
This is not what I wanted. And even the NSA has said that the number of telephone that the Section 215 telephone records programs has disrupted is one. And it's worth noting that one particular
Don't fuck around with me.
involved a cab driver in San Diego who gave $8,500.
I didn't fuck around you. I rolled your joints, you fucking ungrateful bitch. Can you stop?
What you doing at night? Oh. Call me an ungrateful bitch?
Yeah, rolled your joints.
Without serious public debate, we're in trouble. Because Section 215 is the canary in the coal mine. If we cannot fix that, we're not going to fix any of it. And the public debate so far.
I'm complaining
Okay.
about those manners.
About your joint
No, I'm
manners?
complaining about
This vast collection of data is
filthy
not
dumb.
that useful and infringes substantially
Call me
on
names
personal
that
privacy.
hurtful.
I think at this point we should
And look, Japan. You missed him.
Farted.
Okay. Spaghetti stains.
I will. We'll see.
Right now, in Miami, Justin Bieber has been arrested and driving under the influence. He's appearing now before the judge for his bond hearing this month.
Wow.
Actually, you know what? Bad news. We're going to have to interrupt the interruption on the Bieber News for a new interruption. This time featuring a YouTube video of a tortoise having sex with a plastic dog. Let's watch.
Nice.
Hate turtles.
That is essentially the current tone of this vitally important debate. And again, I'm not saying this is an easy question. The most obvious person is Edward Snowden, but the car lives in Russia. Meaning, if you wanted to
I wasn't
argue about
supposed to
these
crack.
issues, you'd have to fly all the way there to do it, and it is not a defense. And the reason I know that is that last I went to Russia to speak to Edward Snowden, and this is what happened. Yes, it spent 48 paranoid hours in Moscow, arguably the last place on earth where you can find an overweight Joseph Stalin in Russia's face.
You really went to Russia?
Yeah.
He was supposed to show up in this room at noon. However, at 5 minutes after the interview was scheduled to begin, I had a troubling thought. I don't know. He's coming. Because my argument is, why would he? I've got 2,000 rubles that says he doesn't make it.
Who is he supposed to see?
All I'm saying is, a
Sure.
10-hour flight,
Edward
for an
Snowden.
empty chair, I'm going to lose my shit. It turns out they made it. It turns out we are working the old KGB building. Federal Security Bureau. I've just been told that we're here. So that happened.
We've been told they know it here.
Just if the Russian KGB was here with the fire alarm if he's not coming. Oh shit.
He's over an hour late.
Holy shit.
Obviously, he had to stake out the place for a bit.
How much do you miss America?
You know, my country is something that travels with me. You know, it's not just a geography.
A what to consider. The answer is I'm missing a lot of the greatest country in the world. I miss my country, I miss my home, I do miss my family.
Yes. I miss my pockets very much. Okay.
What? Ungrateful bitch, yeah?
When you say it like that.
Huh?
When you say it like that.
You see how hurtful it could be?
No, because of the quandary, the nightmare that you're hearing. Okay, let's start again. Why did you do this?
The NSA has the greatest surveillance capabilities in the industry. Now, what they will argue is that they don't use this for nefarious purposes against American citizens. In some ways, that's true. But the real problem is that they're using these capabilities to make us vulnerable to them. And then saying, wow, I could have done points there. I'm not going to pay for it. Trust me.
So, what the NSA you want look like? Because you applied for a job at the NSA. You clearly see the inherent value in that shadowy organisation.
I work with mass surveillance.
You would apply to be good at spying, to be fair.
Right. What you don't want is you don't want them spying on
What's the word you use?
country. Spy
Huh?
Ungrateful. No, it was a name. It was a name. It was a bitch. It was a name. What if it was ungrateful?
Some of the shit about some of the motives they did any remote shit about.
Well, the second question is when we talk
I'm hurt.
Are you?
about
Not really, but I'm hurt.
No one cares. No one gives a shit.
we talk on lawyers negotiating
What you said, doing.
Are you stupid?
Yep.
Are you a cunt?
questions are these programs valuable? Are we going to be safer when we're spying on UNICEF and lawyers who are talking about the price of shrimp and clothes savings?
I don't think people say that good. I think they'll say, I really don't care. Americans do not give a shit.
I think you're right.
I hope it smells like garlic.
What some people do care about is whether Snowden considered the adverse consequences of leaking so much information.
Oh.
How many of those documents have you actually read?
I've evaluated all the documents through the archive.
You've read every single one.
Well, I do understand though, but
But there's a difference between understanding what's in the document and reading what's in the document.
I recognize the concern about GDP.
When you're handing over thousands of NSA documents, the last thing you want to do is read them.
I think it's fair to be concerned about, did this person do enough? Were they careful enough?
Especially when you're handling material like we know you're handling.
Well, in my defense, I'm using extraordinary security measures to make sure that this is reported in the most responsible way.
But those are journalists with a lower technical skill set than you.
That's true.
I'm just an ungrateful bitch.
Just
So the New York Times
I'm just an ungrateful bitch.
didn't redact, and in the end it was possible for people to see that something was being used in Mosul.
Leave him alone. Let him sleep.
Well, that's
it is.
He's dreaming. He's gay.
In journalism, we have to accept that some mistakes
mistakes will be made. And funding to accept that some mistakes will be made.
On that,
Oh, see how grateful I am.
you're giving documents with information
Thank
you know
you.
could be harmful,
Yeah, that's my part.
which could
But you called me an ungrateful bitch.
French people hate that word. I'm not sure why.
While the risks were significant,
It's really funny how like fucking they actually like get triggered from the word peasant.
you said in your letter to Brazil, I was not to verify any decisions of the world to understand the system in which they live. My greatest fear was to not
I have to say it.
never abide the
I'm an Anglo
Yeah.
because my people let you.
All your people that
my
that's
people
it, that's
let
it.
your people stay alive,
Not,
and you guys were allowed to live and prosper here, but you guys couldn't keep in your fucking pants. You guys kept fucking each other and spreading diseases, and we couldn't keep in your fucking pants. You guys kept fucking each other and spreading diseases, and we were like, can't have French people fucking making us English look bad. So then you guys went to the natives, you guys were like, yo, help us.
are you insulting me?
No,
You are.
just giving you a piece of history.
I think you're starting a race war. I think you just did.
Race war!
Well, you said race war.
No,
Show your race war.
don't.
I have no idea who Edward Snowden is.
Don't bug my dog. Don't bug my dog. Punch you in the dick.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Ow! That fucking hurt. Ow!
I just did a flick.
Got me right between the bone. Ow! Stop hurting me. Fucking twist your nipple right off. Ow! Stop it! Stop! Leave my dog alone. Leave my dog alone. Okay, which one do you want?
The one you don't want. Why this one, huh?
I'm not flavored. Not taste.
It's difficult for most people to even conceptualize. The problem is, food is naturally complex and providers, technicians, engineers, the phone number.
Because this is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. I glaze over because it's like the IT guy comes into the office and you go,
You know how it feels now, eh? You don't like that? I like that, eh? I'm grateful.
You almost broke it.
Things that require sort of years and years of technical understanding and compress that into seconds of speech.
You broke it. How would you do that? How would you? It's broken. It's broken.
let me help you out there. Did you mention in an interview that the NSA was passing around?
What happened to my Madison one?
Yeah, this is something where it's
Did you even look at it?
not actually seen as a big deal in the culture.
The Madison one.
Because you see naked
Well, that's the name.
all of the time.
What about the one you looked through?
People about that.
Yes.
Okay.
What in my pouch?
It's in your pouch.
If the government was looking at a picture of Gordon's penis, I definitely feel an invasion of my privacy.
Yeah, the have to do with my penis. That would upset me.
If my husband had the penis and the government could access it, I would want that program to be shut down. I would want the dick program changed. I also want the dick program changed.
One day, there's a nice girl. She was feeding me and everything, and then she called me, and then full.
Punch her in the mouth.
She punched her in the mouth, huh?
Yeah.
Next time it's something to do.
I don't never exist at all. No.
Put your mouth.
If I had
Ow!
had a picture of my dick, I would be very pissed off.
The good news is no program name, the Dick Pic program. The bad news is they are still collecting everybody's information, including dick pics.
I was wrong on that last guy having sent a dick pic recently. The only DS, I'll show you.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
What?
Fellow Americans, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. It hurts.
Is a picture of my dick.
Oh.
Is it because of a certain ungrateful fish?
In regards to that photograph.
Why do you have such a beehole?
702 surveillance. Can they see my dick?
What?
Why do you have such a beehole?
Just to realize which word you're using sometimes they hurt.
Allows the bulk collection of internet communications that are one and four.
You're more grateful that you're doing. For you.
No, but your knee is. Right?
No.
Oh, your knee is going away.
Out of here.
You scared of me, eh?
No. from last year. I'm not allowed to use the, what do you call it? Chainsaw.
No wonder why. Go be somewhere else. She have magic. Hey.
Thank you.
What's up? Your words of encouragement are crazy. Words of love, all that. Amazing. Ungrateful bitch. You suck.
It should be insensitive. Look at it.
Maybe I just want to do little parts to throw at you. That's an ungrateful bitch.
Don't throw that at me.
Well, I will.
Make it sideways. There you go. Perfect. Okay. Go. Thank you. Reach for us.
Top of your weight.
Well, when you go for pitch, right? Don't worry, there's fire.
Oh, see, it's cracked all the way down already. How are you not able to cut that shit? Already cracked all the way down the middle. What is this radio? They know. This is French radio. And they speak English. But she was sticking to English for it. You had it with you when I picked you up. I ate it.
Where is the light?
I didn't check a couple later. It's right there.
So far, am I right?
No, I lied. I think my joint's done.